Chapter 1. The pain was as unexpected as it was immediate, and the intensity of it bordered on excruciating. Tammin felt as if someone had crept up behind her and sucker-punched her with a spiked knuckle duster, caving in a section of her skull, and then had poured burning acid into the open wound. The terrible pain was followed, as it usually was, by a gush of nausea and a painful twisting of her innards into tight knots. Doing her utmost to hide her agony, she slowly swallowed a gulp of nothing and gently set her fork onto her plate. The lilting buzz and undulating titter of dinner conversation coming from all around her faded away, replaced by a jarring whine, steadily increasing in volume, as if someone were probing the inside of her cranium with a dentist's drill. The ambience of the upmarket restaurant, with its warm, mellow lighting and patches of velvety shadows and soft candle flames, gave way to a bright, blinding pulsing behind her eyes. While Tammin's teenage sister Shay and her brother-in-law Andre continued their conversation, oblivious to Tammin's hands curled into fists, so tight that her knuckles threatened to burst through the pale skin of her fingers. Her sister Mary noticed the change in her younger sibling. "Tam," Mary said gently, reaching over and gently placing a hand on her sister's slim forearm. "Are you okay?" Clenching her jaw tightly and swallowing another mouthful of nothing, Tammin slowly nodded. She knew that as rapidly and as unexpectedly as the terrible pain had arrived, it would depart. 3, 2, 1. Tammin counted down in her mind, trying to force the agony, like some invasive parasitic organism, out of her system by the sheer force of her will. Mary squeezed her sister's arm more tightly, and at that point, Andre and Shay finally noticed something was amiss. "What's wrong, Mom?" Shay asked, the pretty 16-year-old's face scrunching up, both perplexed and concerned. Andre, meanwhile, began to rummage through the pockets of his suit jacket. "I've got some painkillers in here somewhere, Tammin," he said. "Just hold on. I've got some regular ones and some strong stuff, too. Which do you need? I've also got some antihistamines in here and some other stuff, antacids. Is she having a reaction to the seafood, Mary? Is that it?" Temporarily unable to speak, Tammin shook her head, clenching her fists so tightly that her fingernails, painted crimson red, started digging into her palms with enough force to draw blood. "It's okay, Andre," Mary said to her husband. "She has these episodes once in a while. It's been that way ever since we were kids." "Episodes? What do you mean, episodes?" he asked, frowning deeply. "I've been married to you for how many years now? And I've known your sister since before you and I started dating, more than 20 years now. Nobody's ever told me about any episodes. What is this, epilepsy or something?" Then, as abruptly as the unexpected pain had arrived, it vanished. Tammin closed her eyes, unclenched her fists, and let out a long sigh of relief. Andre's frown deepened, and he pushed his horn-rimmed glasses up his red, bulbous nose. Although at 47 he was only a year older than Mary and 3 years older than Tammin, he looked closer to 60 than 40. With his shining bald pate and the remaining hair on the back and sides of his head snow white, and his neatly trimmed beard the same pale hue. The sisters, in contrast, could have passed for women in their 30s rather than their 40s. Both were redheads of Irish stock, with alabaster pale skin and emerald eyes. Slim and petite in build, and both were pretty. While Shay had inherited her mother's beauty, specifically her bone structure and facial symmetry, she had her father's raven hair, dark brown eyes, and skin that was closer to olive than snow. That luscious jet-black hair had, however, recently been shorn into a pixie cut and dyed a number of bright hues, blues, violets, and purples, and nose rings and eyebrow rings gleamed on the teenager's face.
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.